Hello dear students, welcome to this class of BA Part First uh, General English. And dear students, today we'll discuss important text which is prescribed in your course, and it is entitled The Birth of Khadi, and the writer is none other than Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, popularly known as Bapu, the father of nation and the great leader of the Indian freedom movement. So, uh, as you might have understood, dear students, by the title itself, the birth of Khadi, that is, how Khadi became so important to the Mahatma and to the Indians during freedom struggle, and how Mahatma Gandhi and his followers, how they established a ashram, the Satyagraha ashram at Sabarmati in Gujarat, and how they introduced a few handlooms there. So the story of the birth of Khadi begins with the Satyagraha ashram that was founded at Sabarmati by the Mahatma, and where some handlooms were introduced. So let us uh, discuss the birth of Khadi by Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. As you all know, Mahatma Gandhi, he was born in 1869, and he is called the father of nation, as he was uh, the prominent leader in the Indian freedom struggle, and he is also known as Bapu. Popularly, we call him Bapu. Uh, the follower of truth and non-violence, and these were the chief weapons of Mahatma Gandhi: non-violence and truth. And it was these two weapons that he used against the British rule in India. And Gandhiji's peaceful battle and bloodless revolution helped India gain independence. He was called to the bar in 1891. He practiced at the Bombay High Court and in South Africa. Also laid the foundation of Indian National Congress in the year 1894. And after that, he was identified with the cause of Indian independence, and he fought for the freedom movement of India from 1915 till 1948. He completely dominated Indian politics, and it was here that his dominance is reflected in all over the country, whether in the lifestyle, whether in the political system, or whether in the apparel or the khadi. Uh, he died at the hand of a fanatic, and in 1948 he was shot dead, hardly a year after independence. A very tragic moment for all the country and the countrymen. In this particular extract that has been taken from his autobiography, he says that the main object behind the birth of Khadi was to enable Indians to be clothed in cloth manufactured by their own hands. That is, our own weavers will weave the cloth, and we Indians will respectfully wear that cloth, of course, made of rough khadi. And this is how he popularized khadi, the role model of khadi, Mahatma Gandhi. And the birth of khadi, as I told you, it started with the Satyagraha ashram that he founded at Sabarmati, and where a few handlooms were introduced. So these people, when some handlooms were introduced, uh, they found ourselves up against another difficulty, and this difficulty was that all these followers, they were either liberal professions, or they belonged to the business community, and not one of uh, them was an artisan who was perfect in weaving. So Mahatma Gandhi says that we needed a weaving expert to teach us to weave. How to weave khadi before we could work at the looms. One was at the last procured from Palanpur and the weaver, but he did not communicate to us the whole of his art. But Magan Lal Gandhi was not to be easily baffled. Possessed of a natural talent for mechanics, he was fully able to master the art before long, and one after another, several new weavers were trained up in the ashram. So it was the credit, Mahatma Gandhi says, that it goes to Magan Lal Gandhi, who learned this art of weaving, and he trained the followers, he trained fellows in weaving in the ashram. The aim that Gandhiji says behind this move was to be able to clothe ourselves entirely in clothes manufactured by our own hands. That we'll boycott the foreign goods, we'll not wear the foreign clothes uh, of England and Britain, but we'll manufacture our own clothes and we'll wear that cloth with pride. Mahatma Gandhi says that we discarded the use of mill woven cloth. Mills, uh, the mills which were established at Manchester, we uh, uh, took it to upon ourselves that we will not wear the cloth woven in these mills, and all the members of the ashram, they resolved to wear hand woven cloth made from Indian yarn only. So this was a promise they made to themselves, and this practice brought them a experience, the whole world of experience it brought to them. It enabled, Mahatma Gandhi says that it enabled us to know from direct contact the conditions of life among the weavers. We could experience the conditions how weavers they the difficulties that were being faced by the weavers, the extent of their production, how much they can produce, and the handicaps in the way of obtaining their yarn supply. What were the hindrances in the supply of yarn, and the way in which they were being made victims of fraud, and lastly, their ever growing indebtedness. How they were uh, being used, and how fraudulently they were being deprived of their own money. He says that we were not in a position to immediately manufacture all the cloth for our needs, but ready to make cloth from the Indian mills was not easily obtainable either from the cloth dealers or from the weavers themselves. And all the fine cloth worn by the weavers was from foreign yarn, he says, and the Indian mills did not spin fine counts. This was another hindrance. Even today, the outturn of higher counts of Indian mills is very limited, whilst highest counts they cannot spin at all. So they decided that we will weave Swadeshi yarn for us, and only on condition that the ashram would take up all the cloth that they might produce. This was the condition. By thus adopting cloth woven from mill yarn as our wear and propagating it among our friends. So this was a promise they made to themselves, and uh, Mahatma Gandhi says that we witnessed the aim of the mills was more uh, and more to weave the yarn spun by them. The difficulties were faced again when he says that we could get neither a spinning wheel nor a spinner to teach us how to spin. It was another difficulty, it was another hindrance, and Gandhiji says that we were employing some wheels for filling perns and bobbins for weaving in the ashram. Bobbins, you all know, is a part of the weaving machine, and he says that we had no idea that those could be used as spinning wheels. We never thought of using bobbins as spinning wheels or perns. And one gentleman, Kalidas Jhaveri, discovered a woman who, he said, would demonstrate to us how spinning was done. We sent to her a member of the ashram. A member of the ashram went to fetch the woman, and this woman was known for great versatility in learning new things. But even he returned without wresting the secret of the art. He could not learn that art, that secrecy, that secret art of spinning as was taught by the woman. So the time passed on. Gandhi says, we kept on learning new things, and my impatience grew with the time. I plied every chance visitor to the ashram who was likely to possess some information about hand spinning with questions about the art. So he says, every visitor of the ashram I used to ask whether he know the art of spinning. But the art being confined to women and having been all but exterminated, he says that it was the art only confined to women. If there was some stray spinner still surviving in some obscure corner, it was difficult to find that. Only a member of the sex was likely to find out her whereabouts. So he says that to find the expert viewer who could teach us, it was a very difficult task, as the art was dying. And in the year 1917, Gandhi says, I was taken by my Gujarati friends to preside at the Broch Educational Conference in 1917. It was here that I discovered that remarkable lady, and the name of that remarkable lady was Gangaben Majumdar. She was a widow, but her enterprising spirit knew no bounds. Her education, in the accepted sense of the term, was not much. She was not much educated, but in courage and common sense, she entirely surpassed the general run of our educated women. She was very courageous and had a great sense. She had already got rid of the curse of untouchability. She was against untouchability, so was Mahatma Gandhi, and fearlessly moved among and served the suppressed class. She served the suppressed class, and she had eradicated that curse of untouchability. She had means of her own, and her needs were very few. She had a well seasoned constitution and went about everywhere without an escort. She felt quite at home on horseback. I came to know her more intimately at the Godhra conference, where to her I poured out my grief about the charkha, and she lightened my burden by a promise to prosecute an earnest and incessant search for the spinning wheel. So, Ganga Ben Majumdar at the Godhra conference assured Gandhiji that she will certainly help in this uh, purpose of spinning khadi, and she will search for the right artisan who could teach them to weave khadi. So with this we come to the end of this extract, The Birth of Khadi, extracted from the autobiography of Mahatma Gandhi ji. And this is how the khadi movement started at Sabarmati Ashram, and how Gandhiji motivated others and searched for the perfect artisan so that others could be trained in weaving. And he says, Gandhi said that it would be a matter of great pride for us Indians to weave our own clothes, and with pride we will wear our own cloth manufactured by our own hands. Dear students, I hope you have understood the lesson. Thank you very much.